Hey, what's up guys? Just picked up this 1979 Ski-doo Everest 500E for electric start. This was a barn find. The guy was asking 400, I offered 3 and he took it. I guess we'll find out if that was a good deal or not. Cosmetically, it's in pretty good shape. Minor little tear there, a couple dings here and there, but really, you know, not too bad for over 40 years old. So you got about 2,000 on the odometer. There's the key switch, your high beam switch. Here we have your kill switch. Throttle lever is, oh, actually, looks like it's freed up. It was stuck earlier, so that's good, I guess. No, maybe this is your high beam switch. That's just your headlight switch? I don't know. Brakes feel fine. Just mechanical brakes, I think. Fuel primer. The pull start needs some repairs. Take a look under here. So this is a 500 fan cooled. That won't stay up. The engine, I can turn it over. Barely. There it goes. And you know, I don't think it's run in 6 years, he said. So might be a little stuck, needs some lube, but compression feels okay. Obviously we'll have to go through the carb, air box. There's the fuel cap there. Looks like it has a battery. I'm sure it's toast, but it looks pretty clean in here. See, it's got a belt. Track is not awful, not great, not awful. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun little project, see if we can get it running. I'm gonna wheel her into the barn and start wrenching. All right, just for fun, I think I'm gonna just throw a new battery on here and see if it cranks over. Might as well try, right? Okay, well, that's the only battery I could find. Pulled it out of my tractor. But 12 volts is 12 volts, right? So I got it wired up. Just gonna bump the switch and see what happens. And nothing. Nothing's happened. Okay, I'm just gonna try to hit the kill switch into the other position and see if that does anything. Oh! It's kind of working. Ow. Not too bad. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the plugs. See what's going on. They look pretty new. Two-stroke oil. See if she loosens up a bit. Oh yeah, it's already feeling quite a bit better. Let's see if the starter wants to do its thing. Okay, so the starter has stopped working. So I'm gonna try to jump the hot wire right to a signal wire on the solenoid. See what happens. Whoa. Doesn't sound too hot, does it? Let me try to just jump the solenoid. It's a solenoid issue. All right, I think I'm gonna switch gears. I was hoping that starter would be pretty easy to get going. And the reason is because there's recoil. I don't know if you can see, it's oh wait, it's turning over now. It was stuck before and there's no handle, so I figured I might as well see if the starter would work so we didn't have to bother with this, but this actually seems to be working now. Let's rig this up to the handle again and see if we can get some spark. Hot. Come on. There she is. Gonna enough. All right. Recoil still is not perfect. The retraction isn't great, but it goes. Let's see if we get some spark. Let's see what happens. Turn the key on. I think I saw something. Oh yeah, we got spark. I guess we could try spraying some of the good stuff down into those holes and see what happens. I really need to get a better spark plug wrench, huh? Stand back. Man, I did not expect that to happen. 6 years. It's been sitting for 6 years. I didn't even touch the fuel or the carb or anything. Wow. Well, that was pretty exciting. I guess we'll move on to the carb and the fuel. Let's take a look in this fuel tank. That looks almost empty, which is good. I guess I'll start taking that air box off. Look in the carb. Probably might as well just take the carb right off, take it apart. It'll need to be cleaned anyway. There it goes. Come on. Nice. So let's just take this out. Easier said than done. Let's see. Come on. Oh, there it comes. Wow. Someone a lot stronger than me must have put that on there. Or it's just kind of corroded. Or both. A little bit of corrosion yet, but not awful. Okay, that's interesting. I think the fuel hose is off. This is going to the primer. And this looks like the fuel pump. I think it comes out here and should be going into the bowl. So we'll have to figure that out. Let's see if this comes off. Yeah. Here we go. Stop. Ooh, that smells well aged. Vintage gasoline. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff there. Mm-hmm. Add it to the jungle juice I have going here. Looks pretty clean though. You know, that looks pristine, not gonna lie. Looks pretty good though. I'm just gonna put it back together. Looks pretty clean, which is good. Oh yeah. Get this little guy out of there. Okay, let's move on. It's the idle set screw here. There's one, there's two, there's three, there's four. Four and an eighth. Clean that off, which I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this one's a bit more important. This is the mixture. It's half, 1, 1.5. So that's pretty normal. I'll do the old squirty squirt. Seems pretty good. So we had 1.5 there. It's gonna take some time to go through and squirt out everything I can squirt out. Okay, I'm back at the fuel tank and not sure if you can see it, but there is still some fuel in there and it is pretty gross. You can't really see it, but there's some nastiness in there that I don't think I'll be able to get out just by pumping through. So I'm gonna try to remove the seat, take the tank out and dump it. Undo the wiring harness for tail light. So this is the ground, and this is, I'm guessing, is one of them will be for the tail light, and one is for the brake light. There she comes. Let's try that. Nice. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Ooh. That looks pretty gross. Ew. So no filter on this, which isn't a good sign. I think it might still be in the tank. There it is. The filter, or what's left of it. Well, I ended up running to the store and I got the closest filter I could find, which is this one. Might not fit through the hole in the tank, but I've got a trick. Some hose clamps, some new fuel line, and of course some snowmobile 2-stroke and some gas. So let's get this new filter in the tank and fill her up. Okay, this isn't exactly what I was planning. I was trying to thread this hose through the tank, but it's so twisty that I couldn't get it, so ended up threading this wire through and then wrapped it around and kind of put some tape on here. So I'm going to try to pull it through and let's see if it works. Hopefully this hose kind of relaxes and flattens out, because if it's too curly in the tank, then it's not gonna stay in the bottom and won't be able to pick up the fuel. So hopefully that is fine. Okay, so we have the filter on, and then we just gotta pull it through. Okay. All right, unfortunately, I think I need a new one of these. The grommet is just really kind of worn here, and I've been trying for the last 10 minutes to get it back into the hole unsuccessfully. So I'm gonna order a new one of these. In the meantime, I'm just gonna leave it like this and make sure I don't fill the tank up, you know, beyond the halfway mark here, so it won't overflow. But I will make sure I get back to that. Slots lined up here. I reattached the fuel tank, so I just need a hose from here to the bowl. So this is pre-mixed 50-to-1. Okay, so I got 2.5 gallons. I'm gonna pull it over and look right here and see if any gas is coming out, see if the fuel pump is working. I'm not seeing any fuel movement. I don't think I'm seeing anything. Okay, so I'm gonna try now. I'm just gonna put some fuel directly in the bowl and see if we can get it to fire. And that feels like it just, the needle just seated. Just to be extra safe, just leave that like there, make sure no sparks come out. Well, the timer's not working, so give her a hit of this. And with that, I think I ran out of fuel. So, let's see. What concerns me is that I don't think any fuel is coming out of this. See, that hose is still empty. Yep, that's empty. So, fuel pump? Might be a fuel pump issue. Let's see. Just might do it. There we go. That's dry. That's dry. Let's go clean that up and maybe pop it open. See what's going on. Carb cleaner for everything. And it was backwards, wasn't it? I swear. Was it backwards? I swear it was like this. This has an arrow in, arrow out. So this would be the input. Okay, so this is kind of strange. I just checked the footage, and this is indeed the orientation it was in. You can see here, this one, the fuel comes in. This one, the fuel goes out. And it was hooked up like that. So that's just backwards. That is just on backwards. So before I even bother taking it apart, let's turn it like that, hook it up that way, see what happens. Yeah, I'm not seeing any movement here. Okay, I'm trying to simplify things here, narrow down the problem. I have the port in running right to this little jug of fuel. That's stupid. I'd say it's not pumping. Let me try to get a clamp on there. Maybe it's leaking some air. Okay, I think it's time to go back to the bench. Oh yeah. She's crusty. All right, it's the next day. I was having a lot of trouble getting the fuel pump to work last night, so ended up just picking up a new one, and I got a new grommet for going into the tank as well. So let's get these in and see if it works. I'm just gonna use the old hose. Thank God, that worked. All right, I have the new fuel pump in, and I have the new grommet in, and that is all hooked up. I have a new hose running, or that will run to the carb from the fuel pump. But first I'm going to take my squeezy bottle and fill up the bowl, and then I'll hook this up, pull it over, and hopefully by the time it uses all the fuel in the bowl, the fuel pump will have primed and we should be good to go. Fingers crossed. So I'm gonna fill up the bowl, pull over, see what happens. Okay, so I just took out the pulse line hose, and there's this crack right here, and I'm wondering if it was leaking around that. So I'm gonna try to cut off this end and maybe cut off some on the other end as well, and hook it up again and see if that works better. Okay, I have the new vacuum pulse hose on. I cut off a little of both ends, and I actually put my mouth over this end and tried to suck, and I felt a lot better than the last time. There was no air escaping, so I'm hoping that was the issue. Unfortunately, I cut it a bit too short, like ½ an inch or 1/8 of an inch too short, and now it's not long enough to get this back in position, so I'll have to buy a new vacuum hose, but I'm gonna fire it up and see if this did the trick. Okay, I've now bypassed the primer, so we have the hose running right from the tank, right into the pump, right into the carb. If this doesn't work, I don't know what will. boy. Well, there's your problem. All right, so I've sprayed some WD around the rust, and this brush has been freed. This brush keeps falling out, but this is working too. So I think I'm just gonna throw this back together and clean other parts a little bit and see what happens. Okay, I have the starter back in and all wired up, so I'm just gonna bump the throttle, or sorry, bump the key and see what happens. Nice. Okay, so I've circled back to trying to figure out my fuel problems, and I took the fuel line off the fitting that goes into the tank, and I was blowing through this line and it was blocked. And so I take this fitting out and I look down into there and it's blocked. I blow through it and nothing. There's like a little nest of some, like the mud dauber nest or something like that. It's completely blocked. Nothing is getting through there. And that has probably been the source of all of my problems. This one fitting that I never checked. I checked all the lines, I checked the filters, never checked this one little elbow. So I'm gonna try to clean this up if I can, and let's see if it works then. Yep, that should do it. I'm trying something a bit different this time. I've taken just some steel wire and I wrapped it around the end of the hose, and that'll just be a weight to make sure it stays on the bottom. I'm not gonna try to get the filter back into the tank because I have the wrong type of filter. I need one of the in-tank filters that can actually pass through this hole, which is what it came with. I have one ordered, but in the meantime, before it arrives, I just wanted to get it running. So I have this hose with a weight on the end, and then I'll pass this through, and then I'll just put the filter on the outside of the tank for now. Okay, I have refilled the tank and I have the fuel filter there running to the pump. So I'm gonna spray some carb clean in there to get it started, and then try to get it running and see if we can prime that pump. And I forgot to hook up this to the fuel pump, so let's try again. Sweet, that was definitely drawing fuel because it ran for quite some time. So it's definitely fuel in those lines. So still a couple things to do. I need to re-hook up the primer because I bypassed it in all my debugging here. So I'm gonna hook that back up. We need to get the airbox back on. I need a longer vacuum hose so I can remount the fuel pump down where it belongs. And obviously this battery is from my lawnmower. So I need to get a real battery. Yeah, I'm gonna do some cleanup, get some stuff buttoned up, put the seat back on, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've also decided that I'm gonna take the exhaust off just to make sure there's no, rat's nests in here, because that could be a big problem down the road. Okay, I've looked as best I can, I've shaken it, and I don't hear anything. Obviously the engine has been running fine, so I think we're good, and I'm gonna put it back. Okay, so I have the fuel pump back where it belongs down there, have the air box back on, have the exhaust back on, have the primer hooked up again. So I want to say we see how it starts. I did just prime it a little bit, so not sure if I'll need to prime it or not, but I'll give it a shot here. So good. All right, let's figure out why that tail light and brake light wasn't working. So I have a lead hooked up to one of those wires. I'm not sure if it's the tail light or the brake light. The ground should still be grounded through here. So if I go and touch the positive with this red wire, okay, so that works. That must be the brake light. It's pretty bright. So the brake light is yellow. And if I come in here, so now I have the brown light. See what that does. Yeah. So that works too. So the light bulb isn't the issue. We'll need to track it upstream here. Continuing my electrical debugging, I have my tester here hooked up to the ground so you can see it's working. This is the back side of the headlight switch. You see here, these leads aren't getting power, and they just were, and then it stopped. And when it stopped getting power, the illumination light for the back of the Ski-doo here also went out. The key is on, so I'm gonna try to figure that out. Okay, I have the headlight switch out here. We're just gonna do some continuity tests, see if it works. This is in the off position. And seems like everything is open. And then there's on. and everything. Oh, so in this position, these two are connected. So it looks like only half of the switch is working. Okay, so that faulty switch is part of the problem, but not the whole problem, I think. Basically, what that faulty switch meant is only this right side here was working. And this right side with the yellow wires is for the headlamp. And the yellow wire is connected to the coil such that it's only powered when the engine's running. So that's why the headlight was never working with just a switch on. Now the red side here, this red line should be hot when the switch is on, even when the engine isn't running. And this red-blue wire goes to the tail light. So, but this switch was never getting closed, which is why the tail light never worked. But as I said, that's only half the problem. So right now the switch is on, and this red line isn't getting power. And I think that's also the reason that my panel light isn't on all the time. All right, I have meandered my way over to the switch side. This red line is the power coming in, so that obviously works. And then that little red wire goes over there. And we can see that also works. So this works, this has power, and then over here, it doesn't. So that's a fuse. I'm gonna check that out. And I think I found it. So you see here, I am probing the red wire that goes into the headlight switch, and it's working. So you may ask, what changed? It wasn't working and now it is working. Well, what changed is this moved. So this is the fuse. And I was wondering, because sometimes it seemed to work, sometimes it seemed to not work. And I'm thinking there's something loose in here. So I had another fuse holder just lying around, so I decided to just splice it in, and as you can see, it seems to be working much better. All right, let's see if we can fix this. It's already broken, can't hurt it. Oh yeah. Oh baby. It needed that. Oh, it just comes out. That might have been why. And then this goes like that, I think. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can test this before I completely button it up. Seems to work. Yes. I think it's working. On. Awesome. I'm glad we could save that because it's a cool switch, and I don't know, I feel like that might be hard to find. Maybe not, but looks like we could save it, so let's put it back in and see if it actually works. I have the switch back in, so let's see if it works. Ignition on, and then nice. So the panel light works. Let's go see if the tail light works. Sweet. Cool. So the last step will be the brake light. Let's see if that works. And surprise, surprise, the brake light has its own problems. So here we have, this is the brake light switch that's connected right to the brake caliper. So when this brake is squeezed, that switch is supposed to turn on here and connect these wires and tell the brake light to come on. Well, that wasn't working. The switch needs to be fixed, but I can still test to make sure the brake works by just jumping it, and see there in the reflection that the brake light is working. So it's just this switch that needs to be fixed. So let's take that apart and see what's going on. And the problems don't end there. So while debugging the brake light, it was weird because I took the switch out and I realized the switch actually was working, but the brake light still wasn't working. And then I realized nothing up there was working anymore either. And so I thought, oh my God, back to square one. And guess what? It's another one. It's another one. It might be in here. What do you think? You think it's in there? Not only that, but I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a fuse. Looks like someone took the fuse out and just taped it up. Okay, this might just be the absolute worst thing I've ever seen. So this was obviously where the fuse used to go. There was a 30 amp fuse here. Maybe the fuse blew and they didn't have another one, not sure. But what they did is they just took the two ends of the fuse holder, put them together, and taped around it. Man, I wonder why it wasn't working. So, unfortunately, I don't have a 30 amp fuse or a fuse holder, so I'm gonna have to make a store run and get this hooked up properly, and then hopefully that solves all of our electric issues. All right, just picked up a fuse holder, and it even came with a 30 amp fuse. Guess this is a good time to get a new battery in. Still not really sure how this is supposed to work. Guess we'll worry about that later. Okay, got the new battery wired in. I need to get a new ring terminal for this negative lead because it's really not ideal at all. I need to get that, but I have the battery in and I think everything's working. So let's see if we turn the switch on. We have panel illumination, and then I plugged back in my brake signal wire, and we have brakes. I haven't even mentioned the coolest part of the sled. Check it out. It's a little toolbox. Maybe this is common. I've never seen it before. What does that say? Plug and bulb caddy. Maybe there's some spark plugs in there. Caddy is empty. And here we have just a few wrenches. Okay, I decided to just forego the battery bracket, and I got a strap on there. It seems to be holding it good enough. So I think I'm gonna run with this, and maybe in the future I'll try to get that bracket in there better. Okay, so the hood's back on. I have it on this cart here. So I'm gonna try to drive it out. It's a cold start. idled down a bit. Seems to be going fine. You know, she starts right up. Pretty much all the functions work. I'm excited. Now we just need some snow. When we get our first storm, I'm gonna take her for a rip, get some video, and that's where we'll close her off, hopefully. But until then, I'll be just praying for snow, and yeah. It is December 16th, and we have finally gotten our first snowstorm, quote unquote, which is super late for us up here in Maine, but that's just how things go nowadays, unfortunately. But it is above freezing, and it has been this whole time that it's been snowing, so it's incredibly sticky, but I just couldn't resist. There goes a plow guy, and let's just take her for a rip.